I think it goes without saying that there's a lot that goes into a hunt. When you factor in time, money, resources, I mean, we're constantly getting notifications that monster bulls and bucks exist. There's a steady stream of public landowner t-shirts, faceless Richardson 112 staring back at you, telling us that hunting is conservation and that we just need to keep hammering when stuff gets tough. And it's compelling shit, don't get me wrong. And there's nothing quite like chasing giant cervids in the middle of God's country. But when it doesn't exactly pan out like it does on Instagram or YouTube, you have to ask yourself, time away from your wife, the massive cost of the latest top-of-the-line gear, your blood, your sweat, your tears, is it all worth it?
Back on that same view we were on yesterday. Got a couple bulls. Sound like they're coming in. So I'm posted back on this ridge. Steve's gonna drop down and see if he can see one. That spike came. I moved up this ridge exactly 35 yards, and that spike came right to the tree that I was calling. So that elk looks like it's either a small bachelor or he's got a cow or something with him. I haven't got my knockers up there to see.
So at this point, you're probably saying to yourself, all right, Mr. Anti-Industry Intro Guy, what are you gonna do? You gonna put that camera down? You gonna shoot this elk? He's completely upwind from you, and he barely knows you're there. Oh, let me guess. You are gonna hold on to that camera for some sick content, bruh. Well, I can honestly tell you that I wanted nothing more in the world than to shoot this elk. This elk that I called in by myself on a string, I would have bawled like a baby all the way back to the house. And I am the quintessential late bloomer hunter guy who listened to a Joe Rogan podcast, who read a couple of Steve Rinella books, and decided that he was going to be God's gift to hunting. But I've oftentimes said that every time I pick up a bow, I do learn a lesson. And usually, I gather those lessons and I tell you at the end of these videos. But this time, I'm gonna learn you guys something right in the middle of the video. Right here. You ready? Make sure that you have permission to hunt, especially when it's on ground that you have to travel through 2 different time zones to get to. Do that before you get there. And don't adjust the volume on your TV or on your phones. You heard me correct. You may have also noticed that you haven't seen me with my bow in my hand at any point in this video or the video that preceded it. And that's because I personally did not communicate with the landowners on what my role on this hunt was going to be. So yeah, I booked a rental car, I bought a tag, licenses, I worked out like a son of a bitch. A little less than I would have liked to admit, but that's not here or there. I bought licenses. I left my wife alone for the better part of 3 weeks to call in elk and not be able to have my bow in my hand for any of it. So now you're like, Jesus, Jake, way to bum everybody out. How in the hell are you going to pull us out of this weird hole that we found ourselves in? And also, how in the hell are you going to keep making hunting videos without any animals dying in them? And I'll start by telling you that it was very hard for me to put these videos together. I don't have very much footage from the first couple days because honestly I didn't know what the point was. But on the 3rd day, we had our first real encounter with an elk. It was this giant 6x that had one side broken off. Called him in from what seemed like a mile away, and he came in on a string 20 yards downwind from Steven, and he crested the hill, and you could hear him breathing, and you could see the slobber dripping off of his chin, and you could smell him. He was ready to kick the shit out of me just for bugling in his general vicinity. And it was right there that I decided that I'd rather be calling to elk than not be around them at all. So that's what I did. I called in elk, and then I called in some more elk, and I ran up and down those mountains. And for one reason or another, the guys that I was with either couldn't get shots on elk or missed shots on elk and just generally couldn't close the deal. But I had more fun than I thought was possible at the time. And as hard as all this was to swallow, and as much as I would have really liked to have killed an elk my first go of it, that's not really what it's all about. I mean, that's like a lot of what it's about, but I'm a glass half full kind of guy. So when none of my compatriots could close a deal on the elk, we did what any sensible, honest, extremely handsome, red-blooded Americans would do. Gave up, went fishing.
This might be a big, dude, this is a big fucking fish. This is big. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Come on. Do not break loose. Work your way. Come on. Ah, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. This is a big fucking fish. Come here. Come on. Come on. No, 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 no. Woo!
Took a lot of cool shit away from this trip. I met some people that gave me a new lens through which to view my surroundings. I learned stuff that you can't just get scrolling through Instagram. And I experienced things that few people will at a time when most people are afraid to leave their house. So back to the original question regarding the merits of this discipline, whether it's worth the blood, sweat, the tears, you're damn right, and I'd do it again. So in review, establish hunting permission before you travel 2,000 miles across the country. Or don't, either way it's fun as shit. Always check for snakes. I think we all can agree that these gender reveals are getting out of hand. Even Mother Nature agrees. And live your life on Bad Mountain.